We are live. This is the market update, the Bitcoin 30K market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. If you need to know why Bitcoin is acting like this, I will show you the chart and I will tell you the story because there's a lot going on in the institutional world at the end of the quarter. So I thought it was in July and let it fly. They're doing it early. Not surprising. Big question is, should you pay 30, 32, or 36K for Bitcoin? That's a question we will look at. I want you to go through all the charts, DeMark intraday plus the news. So let's welcome who's here, right? Coffee farts first on the stream. Market looking nice. Okay. Bull Runner is here. Rugby Performance Lab, right? Originally from France. Welcome. Jeff says Bill must be taking profits. Bull Runner says it's amazing over there. All right. Happy summer solstice from Luis. Yes, thank you. Okay. Pancakes and peanut butter. Did the bear get Bill? Yes. An instance where I did not catch the bottom, the cardinal sin. Okay. Rave Song Records is here. Wolf Stigma. Richard Barry is here. Okay. Reverend Flashback in the house. Okay. Wrong again says, don't buy now, wait for the pullback. Okay, a brief personal announcement. You guys can have sort of a laugh on this one. I don't exactly know how it happened, but I contracted mononucleosis or mono. Typically, you get this kind of stuff in high school or college. It's not fun. That's why there was no market update for a couple of days. So I'm back, but we will be announcing a new kind of abbreviated market update schedule going forward. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff on Twitter. My Twitter is at @crypto_noble. So any market update fans, you want to make sure you are following my Twitter and you have the alert bell set up. But I am back and I am here to explain to you why Bitcoin is going up the way it is and what you should do next. Eric is here. Quarter Crawler. Welcome, Brad. Okay. Laughing Dolphin is here. Welcome. Welcome to everybody who is right. Rave Song Records. Right. Yes, that is how you get mono. Me and a special friend have it. Not sure how it happened, but hey, we are, I am back. I am here. Don't forget to follow the Twitter feed. Great filibuster here. Okay. I'm diving into news. Here we go. Blackrock recruiter admits on camera that Washington politicians are bought off and the elites are secretly in love with the Ukraine situation. So is that something that we didn't already know? No, but somebody actually said it who was allegedly on the inside. So a popular politician has been banned from a certain video platform, and you can aggressively see the United States, right, kind of dividing itself up, right, with big institutions on one side, the little man on the other. It's one of the reasons why we will be making announcements about moving stuff over to other social media platforms, frankly, so I don't accidentally say the wrong thing. Okay? Like I said, people are getting shut off. What can you do with a blockchain token that is classified as a security? So without reading this to you, it would seem that the world has sunk in about what Gensler will do and how you should trade it. And of course, that's buy Bitcoin, right? Like I thought there was going to be a final puke in altcoins at the end of the quarter, kind of like tax loss selling. And then they were going to rip this thing up in July, and they did it now. Bottom line is it's tough to prove any altcoin is a security. You can say they're all securities. They may have to do it case by case, but that probably has nothing to do with Bitcoin ETH and probably XRP going forward. Okay. Okay, the digital euro, the bill is ready, but the politicians are not. Okay, the politicians are like, ooh, really? We're going to get into crypto? You know, they do see that there's a way to control people, but I don't know how they prevent people from taking their digital dollar or their digital euro and converting it all into Bitcoin. So it is kind of funny that even though CBDCs are evil because they can, you know, they can take it away from you if they don't like your social credit score, meaning if you get your salary in a CBDC and the government doesn't like you, they can take your money. They can take your money if it's in a bank too, but it's a little easier if you got a CBDC. Now, let's get to Bitcoin. Bitcoin crosses 29K, crossed 30K today. Okay, Millimeters here hitting the like button. I appreciate that. What's going on? Okay, pension funds, mutual funds, hedge funds, retail, everybody made a ton of money this quarter being long tech stocks. Tech stocks went up, Bitcoin went down. It was the great decoupling. Ah, ha, 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 egg on crypto's face. Then at the end of the quarter, I had discussed in earlier updates about how things like rebalancing occurs. Sometimes big funds buy losers and sell winners. That's right. You heard that correctly. So, you know, if they need to maintain balance in their portfolio, they might sell AI and tech and chip stocks and buy MicroStrategy or Bitcoin stocks or Hut mining, right? Or just buy Bitcoin flat out in certain cases. And that appears to be what happened. Equities topped, bonds were stable, capital came into the market, and it just so happened it came into Bitcoin. So nobody was waiting for any problems with the US government or otherwise in July. They were like, F it, we're doing it now. That's why Bitcoin is vertical. We'll go through the Bitcoin chart. I'll show you what the upside is. Okay. My personal opinion is this is probably going to go higher short term, maybe a day or two. And then you're going to want to buy the next dip. Don't get suckered in. In other words, if you want to trade it, trade it. But I don't think Bitcoin at 36K is what you want to pay for a hodl position. But, you know, I'm working the crypto industry, so I'm cheering for crypto. I'm also not looking to make two big mistakes. One, analysts usually, you know, make mistakes when they come in off of vacation or off of being out and try to make a big pronouncement and a big call right away. You don't want to do that. Second thing you don't want to do is if you missed a move, you don't want to fight it, right? Like don't be short or don't do anything like that. However, again, there is some evidence that if you get pulled into this thing above 32K, you may regret it because there may be a dip. I think because the Federal Reserve is going to have to hike interest rates a lot more than anybody thinks. Now, let's talk about why. I was told over the weekend by a commercial real estate person that there are still 10 bidders for every house in Austin, Texas. Yes, Austin, the housing market dropped. Some of the excesses from 2021, you know, were worked off, but nobody is deterred by a 6% 30-year mortgage rate. Meanwhile, in the commercial real estate world, people are borrowing money in 5-year called 5-year money. They're borrowing all kinds of money looking for commercial real estate to drop so they can buy it. So everybody's looking for a commercial real estate crash, and they're not going to get it at these interest rates. Now, what does this tell you? Well, right now, interest rates are just too low still. I know that's crazy after all this Fed tightening, right, and all these bank blowups, but they're still too low, which is allowing Bitcoin to just smoke to the upside. I mean, the day I had the conversation with the Austin real estate guy was the first day Bitcoin was up 5%. So, you know, the Fed paused. Everyone thinks that's the end. Might be, probably not. Matter of fact, I seriously doubt it. They're just going to keep going. Now, in the meantime, you know, if it's like the thumbnail for the show is a party, you know, they can have a party, but there may be a very serious hangover in July. In other words, if they did the rally early, you know, you may see the dip later. That's all. But crypto is definitely off to the races. Just don't know that you want to get caught FOMOing in at 32. So that's my preliminary look at it. Okay. And of course, every headline is positive now, rightly so, right? This is the sign that the institutions are just piling in. Deutsche Bank applies for a digital asset license, right? Mastercard files for a blockchain patent, right? It's funny, Gensler's trying to take down Coinbase and Binance, and everybody else is piling in. And who knows? This was a completely underrated catalyst. Crypto exchange backed by Citadel, Fidelity, and Schwab starts operating. So, the bid that came off Coinbase probably went over here. I mean, who would trade with Coinbase when this legacy-based crypto institutions, I'm talking about, institutional money, they just all went, when this opened up, they bought Bitcoin. I knew they were going to buy Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin dominance is going to 70, right? Just, they did it way earlier, which is, kind of classic crypto, right? It's never tidy. Okay. Stablecoins, DeFi, likely to be the SEC's next target in the crypto crackdown. So yeah, stablecoins are in trouble. Really interested to see if there's a problem or if they go after Tether in any way. I don't think so, but if they're going after stablecoins in the decentralized universe, really, it just hastens the need to buy Bitcoin, right, at the institutional level. And that's why the thing's going up 5% every day. Now, that said, it's probably forced buying because, again, it's just people getting out of tech and into something else. The something else is Bitcoin. They may not be thinking about what they're paying if they're paying over 30. Now, here's the good news about paying over 30. That's Michael Saylor's average price. So if Michael Saylor has got Bitcoin above 30 or 32, we'll go over the MicroStrategy chart later. Okay. Another reason for Bitcoin, IMF working hard on the global CBDC platform concept. There can't be any doubt in your mind, right? If you watch a major podcaster who also does mixed martial arts, you look at the presidential candidate that he interviewed, you look at how a video streaming service, I guess, treated those people. You look at, there was a tweet today from the people that operated the Titanic tourist submarine. The CEO was quoted as saying they were not interested in hiring people in my demographic. Just flat out said, I'm not doing it. Said they weren't inspirational. So if there was ever any doubt in your mind that we're living in a blatantly kind of strange dystopian world, it's not a coincidence that this one particular politician that seems to be rising and garnering a lot of attention, the second he garnered a lot of attention, remember, he made a speech at Bitcoin Miami and Bitcoin just took off. Matter of fact, as soon as I saw him on Joe Rogan, I was like, uh-oh, right? That feeling as an analyst or as a trader when you put the trade on or you have a view and you're like, oh no, oh no, they're going to do it. They're going to do it right now. And that is pretty much exactly what they did. Okay. Now you've also got a catalyst in July. Okay. U.S. House Committee to vote on crypto stablecoin legislation. Okay. That's great. All right. But unless it's crypto negative, the administration's not going to sign it. The dollar is lower today. We're going to go over all the charts, talk all about it. Bitcoin at a certain level embarrasses them. Okay. Let's transition over to PowerPoint and welcome, everybody who's here. Wob Bilson is here. Boris from Jersey. What's up? Rudy, right? Rudy is here. Kim Craig catching the show live. That's great. Shizzy DeFi looking to buy ordinals. Look, man, if ordinals are not a security, that's probably the next wave of speculation heading into the halving. Ordinals remind me of kind of the percolation of DeFi before the explosion in 2020. Okay. Rudy Roo wants to know where the charts are. We're getting there. Okay. Wrong again's talking about 63%. I'm assuming that's Bitcoin dominance. Okay. Toledo, Ohio is here. John, welcome. Okay. Welcome. All right. I don't want Rudy to get upset. So let's get Rudy and the viewership some charts here in a hurry. Okay, here comes the PowerPoint where we're basically going to go over. I mean, this is kind of a picture says 1,000 words type of thing. And, you know, as soon as I saw a lot of this stuff, I was like, uh-oh. So this is a linear regression on TradingView. You know, it's like a trading channel drawn by statistics. This is making the rounds all over hedge fund chart groups. People are like, we are so back. I mean, every time you hit the bottom of this thing, the way it's been traveling, you know, you could get 35K. I mean, that's just kind of how it's been. You know, it likes to hug the middle. You know, it goes above it and it comes back down. So you might see 35 and then 32. So the way this seems to be working is it's going to probably suck everybody in on the upside if it hasn't already. And then it's going to come off hard off the Fed. Now, personally, I think that's when you buy it, right? You buy the max fear unless the max fear was Gensler. Okay, so I'm going to have to redo my roadmap. My sense is you can trade it up to 35 if it goes there, but I'm not buying anything that you're going to hodl until you can prove that you can buy a dip. Because remember, this is quarter end asset allocation. That's it, right? In other words, the Fed gave everybody a break and everyone's got to sell NVIDIA and buy MicroStrategy. Then once July 1st comes around, then you're going to know what the market really wants to do. Now, I'm not saying I don't want to buy crypto. You know, I wanted to buy the living daylights out of crypto 10 days from now, but it looks like they're going to do the whole rally right now. Okay. Now let's go to DXY. Okay. To state the obvious. Okay. Arik is here from Israel. Moon Sector 7. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. New Zealand is in the house. Okay. Now, dollar index, right? Down. 89 minutes. Dollar index at the end of the quarter. I mean, basically, dollar is down only for so many different reasons. Political division, problems with treasuries, you know, complete lack of inflows into the United States to buy treasuries, etc. All right, now let's look at the tactical view on Bitcoin. We have a 4-hour chart here. This is DeMark work. So you have a 9 top over here. You have a 13 top up there right now as I'm speaking. So again, this feels like institutions were involved down here on these big green candles. They may have done what they needed to do, and then retail is FOMOing in above 30. That may work. I'm cautious on that. I'm not trying to make some big call, but I'm cautious on this thing because, you know, if it went to 26 and it went to 22, I wanted to buy everything. But if it ramps up to 30 like this, okay, you don't want to be in a situation where it gets dropped in your face. If Bitcoin's going to 60, we'll have time to get in. Okay, but I don't want to buy a 13 top today after it's been up 15% back-to-back days. Now, if you go to ETH, okay, ETH may have some catching up to do, but in 8 hours, ETH may have a 9 top in. Right now, it has a 7, and there's pretty chunky resistance. There's some at 1850. I think it got past that, and then there's 1912. So I really don't want to fight any of these things, but I don't really want to buy 13 tops or resistance. And I know it feels like you missed out, but with the way crypto moves, really, you haven't missed anything. It just looks like a lot of movement because crypto hasn't been doing much in the summer. Okay. BitBoy Al is asking how low and how quick does the dollar drop? Okay, this is a good question. My view is that the dollar is going to go on a slow downtrend. And when it goes below 100, it's going to accelerate and wind up down at 80 in the fall. In other words, really big trends don't always start out quickly. A lot of times they start out slowly and they build up and they put you to sleep, a little bit the way Bitcoin did, right? It went up off the Gensler low and then put everybody to sleep and then boom. Okay. I think the dollar, because legacy is a slower moving instrument, once people figure out that there may be problems in the US financial system in that September and October area, that's when I think the dollar really starts moving. Bubba is here. Welcome. Okay. Wrong again. Notice it. Yes. And then gold rips, right? And then, wrong again said Monday was weird because Bitcoin and the dollar were up at the same time, which is probably how you have quarter end gymnastics. Again, reading too much into what happens at quarter end. Equities volume is massive. Buying and selling has to do with rebalancing portfolios, not with necessarily, we think this about market direction. I mean, if you're a crypto hedge fund, you basically have to be holding Bitcoin. If you've been long NVIDIA for 6 months, buying MicroStrategy makes some sense. Okay, so this is ETH versus Bitcoin. So to state the obvious, this is a weekly chart. ETH has been breaking down gradually right at the apex. And, this is going to result in massive underperformance of ETH relative to Bitcoin. So on the way up, Bitcoin's going to go up 20%. ETH will go up 10. If the market goes down, if you have, if they're doing the rally now and then they may do a decline in early July, I don't know. But if they do that, right, when ETH goes down, ETH is going to go down way more than Bitcoin. Rudy giving me like the title of Shakespeare, and I appreciate that. Okay, MicroStrategy. So you have a huge diamond. We know this is eventually going massively higher, right? We know that. Okay. Not investment advice, but it's a diamond, and 326 is resistance. So if MicroStrategy takes out 326, I mean, it is up massively, right? It's better to have it go up massively after it breaks out, but there's 10 days left in this quarter, and I don't see anybody not buying this. I don't see institutions letting off the gas pedal buying this stock. No one cares about Bitcoin ETFs anymore. This is the Bitcoin ETF. As a matter of fact, the existing Bitcoin ETF is a disaster because there are so many fees involved with trading the futures contracts that make up the Bitcoin ETF. Just freaking buy MicroStrategy. They own spot Bitcoin. They probably got a little leverage going on in there. It's a kicker. So if it takes out 326, okay, it's going higher. If it doesn't take out 326, again, you've had multiple instances where, buying huge green candles really hasn't paid off. I mean, I would love it if it just keeps right on going, right? But you got to buy red. And I don't know that you want to be buying stuff up 5 and 10% unless you're doing like day trades. That's just a guess, right? Okay, Hut mining. It's hard. It's hard to argue with what's going on here, right? If people need massive amounts of Bitcoin, they're going to have to buy the miners, literally. Like they're going to have to buy them, as in the company. Hut traded as high as 16, right? I mean, is anything really going to stop this short of an overall stock market correction, at least right now? No. But, if it's breaking out of a long-term range, it may come back down and retest the bottom of that range, and then we'll see. So I don't want to fight it. I definitely don't want to fight it, but I don't want to pay 34 for Bitcoin and then find out I could have gotten it at 28 later. That's all. Okay, so ETH, there was resistance at 1850 and no one cared, which is a sign that, even though if you got a 13 top in Bitcoin, that ETH may be able to do like a full catch-up day, even though I think altcoins versus Bitcoin is like basically permanently broken. Bitcoin dominance, we talked about this diamond a lot. Okay. This was a very violent breakout to the upside. You know, I said 51. It looks like it's headed for 52. You broke out of this range, and I don't know who or what is going to stop the outperformance of Bitcoin versus altcoins. Now, of course, we would all love it if Bitcoin just went straight up, right? I knew there was going to be a straight up period. I just, you know, I feel like I have to do a Kramer and say, I'm sorry that I missed it. Now, soon as an analyst has to apologize for missing a move, the move may be over. Just like Kramer had to apologize for Meta at 90 and it's now at 230. So I've got plenty of evidence to suggest that you do not want to get sucked in at the top of this move. Do not get sucked in at the top of this move. If you have to wait and waiting is painful, then wait. Now, if you can't wait and you have to have a small position, have a small position. Okay. But, you know, I know people want to like FOMO in with the rent money. All right. But I don't think that's the right way to go. Like the first look. Okay. So Lord Junta with some ancient wisdom there. I appreciate it. Little bitty crypto thinks alts can go down another 40%. BitBoy Owls wants to look at core scientific for mining. Makes sense. Okay. And that is the chart version of the market update. Now I'm going right to live TA. Definitely appreciate everybody who's here on the stream today. All right. You want to make sure that, you know, you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I know there's a lot of people here who already do that, but don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Okay. So let's take a look at this 13 top in Bitcoin. Okay. So there it is. All right. Now, the other thing that you have to remember just conceptually is that it really has not paid. It has not paid to FOMO in at these levels. Now, everybody knows that, right? Everyone knows that. Okay, this is a 4-hour chart, which is why they may push it through despite the 13 top, right? And try to suck everybody in. Okay, now, if you look at Bitcoin on a daily chart, so there's kind of a 13 top. Not kind of, that is a 13 top. Things are on a 6, so you could have 3 more up days, and it looks like they want to press 32. That's a big DeMark point. So in addition to anything else that we're coming up with, right? If we go to Ethereum, right? Actually, this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin, which is worth looking at, right? We talked about this, right? We talked about the 9 bottom in Ethereum versus Bitcoin. We talked about the failed rally. Now, I thought that was going to lead to an altcoin decline, and it led to a monster Bitcoin rally where it outperformed ETH. Surprise. Markets love doing stuff like this. Okay, so if you got caught, you got company, as in me. Now, ETH, 1850 was a level, right? It was. All right. Now, it hasn't paid to buy above 1850, but when they want to ramp it, they can take it up to 2000 if they want to get crazy. If they want to get crazy. Now, do you want to buy resistance in kind of a quarter end environment? Because remember the reasons why people are buying Bitcoin. It's like asset allocation, right? That, and I think people were just starved, because I think there is an incredible Gensler facial in here. You have SBF, you know, everything that happened last year, Celsius, Binance, Coinbase, Gensler. I mean, they've thrown everything but the kitchen sink at Bitcoin, and it's still at 30K. I mean, you know, I talked about this part of it. Like they were going to have one last push to try to stop Bitcoin, and then it wasn't going to work. It just wasn't going to work. Right. And to me, it's kind of surprising that even stuff like AGIX didn't do better. I mean, yeah, in percentage terms, it did okay. But I would have thought that like decentralized AI, frankly, would have done better. Okay. So let's take a look at some small altcoins like Gala. Okay. So you're going to have a 9. You had a 9 bottom, which gave you a bottom, and then you'll probably have a 9 top tomorrow, right? Now, will you have one final big climactic push? Could you have Bitcoin take a break and have altcoins have one day in the sun? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Lord Junta wants to know, Rudy hit the like button, and I appreciate that. Is Render worth holding? Okay. Okay. So that's a good question. You definitely don't want to see a failed rally here because you're on a 12. You could be head for a 13 top, and you are at resistance. All right. So when it comes to altcoins, I'm going to be honest. Unless I'm going for like the full idiot mode, unless I'm having a Kramer moment, okay? Unless I'm having a Kramer moment, I think if you have a monster rally in Bitcoin, that's an opportunity to take profits if you have them in some of these altcoins. I mean, Render does have an AI angle. I understand they're kind of like almost renting out some of their computer space for AI to work, or for, for artificial intelligence platforms. So it's not like it's a terrible project, but if I saw some big emotional new high in certain altcoins, I might be tempted to take the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to sell the best stuff in the world in a whole, because like I said, it has not paid for some time to buy green and sell red. It has not paid. Okay. It has not. So, I mean, that's, that's how Crypto Clan is here. Welcome. Okay. Wob says Gensler facial, probably the biggest facial that there is. Okay. Binance Coin. Okay. An interesting idea. Okay. On a weekly basis, you had a 13 bottom back in December. It looks like you could have 2 more down weeks before you would get a 9 bottom and start thinking about that. Okay. But that's really an interesting idea, right? Okay. I'm not sure if this made the SEC's hit list, but HBAR, right? You have a 13 and a 9 bottom. And to be honest, this goes on the I missed it list. You did have a lot of these signals in altcoins. And, I thought they were going to have like 7 more down days, and they just said F it and turned around. Okay. Okay. The Fuzz Crypto wants to talk about GLDN. I'll tell you something about GLDN. That's interesting. So there's a little bit of a bounce going on here. GLDN is the native token of a commodity ecosystem from Emerging Asset Group. Okay, so I work for that group full time. I own the GLDN and the Bark token. Okay, Bark is our water contract. So to make it very simple, GLDN is like the ETH of our ecosystem. So if you want to buy the water contract, you have to buy GLDN first. So you can buy the water contract. Now, interesting. It has been 106 degrees in Texas every day for the last 10 days. Like, if you want to go out, you got to go out before sun up or after sundown. Grain futures are flying in terms of things like drought and stuff like that, right? Like, wheat was in this horrendous bear market, right? And this is up only now. This is like moving faster than Bitcoin. Corn is the same thing. So, if you got drought, right, we have 3 of the 5 water licenses in Greenland. And if you knew who our water sales group was talking to, it's basically like a S&P 500 or Dow Industrials who's who in terms of who they're talking to about getting water. That includes Uncle Sam. So, Crypto Clan wishing me the best to stay safe in Texas. So, I mean, if there's a bid coming into GLDN, like, that's why. That's why. I can wait. Like, I can wait for the world to come to us on diamonds like Block 47. That's another project where we're going to put the New York Diamond District on chain. You know, a lot of people chasing last cycle's altcoins here. Meanwhile, there's a lot of stuff related to hard assets that are still down. So, you know, again, I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time talking my book, right? Because it is my book, but you know, I'm hodling that. KDA. So again, you know, you have these big altcoin spikes, but you've got them to resistance. Now, you know, Bitcoin answered the question, are people willing to pay higher prices? They are. Are people willing to pay higher prices in KDA? Well, they were yesterday, but they're not today. So I would say the key level here is something like 66 cents. So 66 cents for KDA will be the absolute key level right there. Okay, let's go to Cardano. Okay, so this wound up on the SEC naughty list. You know, retail and institutions probably heaved it. Okay, I thought there was going to be one more heave. Okay, Big Rich says the bull market is back. I appreciate that. Okay, you could have 6 more up days in Cardano. Okay, the one I was looking at because of the phone was Solana, right? Solana at 15, even though this was on the hit list. You know, if altcoins do have a big day, you know, I would not doubt, right, that, you know, Solana could go to 20. And Big Rich says people are paying higher prices for RNDR. And listen, man, that is a multi-coin capital favorite, right? So if you go back to RNDR on a weekly chart, you know, yeah, I mean, it's up, it's staying up. And then maybe if we go to weekly, okay, it hits a DeMark moving average. You know, I mean, like this is a different picture now. So this is weekly. You get a 9 top in render, you get, you know, it comes off. And then I think if you got a weekly close above $2.47, then you probably could have another uptrend start. Okay. That said, it has not necessarily paid to buy massive strength. But if Bitcoin can't be stopped, I mean, you know, Bitcoin's going to outperform alts. But if Bitcoin goes to 36K, you're going to get a massive new high in something like render. Again, you want to be reevaluating. It didn't pay to sell the despair of Gensler, and it may not pay to buy the euphoria of quarter end adjustments. Okay. Rich is saying that, Render signed a deal with Apple. Okay, I get it. Okay, Lord Hunter is asking, has Toby done any work on Avalanche? Matter of fact, funny you mentioned that. I actually wanted to do that today. We did the Fed interest rates, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, that's coming to Twitter soon. We definitely appreciate you supporting that content on Twitter and on the Unhinged Crypto YouTube channel, which is just getting started. But on my Twitter and unhinged_crypto on Twitter is where you can catch sort of our outside the box analysis. One thing I can tell you about Toby is that Toby does use tarot cards to do her analysis. And I know that's not everybody's favorite, but you know what? And I knew this when I met her, that Toby doesn't necessarily need the tarot cards to see what may happen next. It's a really cool edge, and it's helped me, and it may help you too. If you can keep an open mind, I wouldn't be doing it if it didn't work. Okay. Avalanche, you know, again, security token functionality, not on the SEC hit list. 9 bottom on support. There's resistance at $13. Okay. $13.12. If you go to a weekly, okay, you got a 13 and a 9 bottom here. So you may think Avalanche is up a notch. It's not. It's not. So if there's an altcoin that could just absolutely smoke to the upside, it could be this, right? And if you look at the D wave, the DeMark Elliott wave, you know, you have 3 down, 4 up, and that's a 5-wave bottom, folks. So, you know, not investment advice, but, you know, Avalanche Avalanche has to make it has to make the top of the list, mainly because, one, it's not on Gensler's list. Two, the technicals are good. And three, it's got a security token functionality. Okay. Right. SDF said he started using a pendulum. Okay. And that changed his whole performance. Boris is wishing me giving me a get well soon wish. I appreciate that. Lord Junta, Toby will be looking at Avalanche. We definitely will. Okay. Rudy says classic Wyckoff distribution. Okay. Do you think the SEC is helping BlackRock pick the winners? Yeah. Yeah, man. I think that's exactly what happens. Right. They are telling people, so if you want to do a 1984 thought process with the Bitcoin move, it may not be a coincidence that Gensler came in and wrecked the whole market and then allowed Bitcoin, allowed BlackRock and a lot of people to hoover up everybody's capitulation in Bitcoin, right? To hoover up everybody's capitulation in Bitcoin. Now, speaking of capitulation, somebody is asking for BEN. Last thing I remember saying about this was that it had really big technical points that it absolutely had to hold. Okay, and let's see if it did that. Okay, so I was looking at the time, I was looking at the 76% retracement at 87.81. Okay, actually, the level that you wanted this to hold was actually much higher. Now, you could say perhaps that this was all some form of capitulation and possibly a base. But dude, I'm going to be honest with you, with any of these meme coins, right? Like first Ben Armstrong was seemingly involved and then he wasn't. So I don't know if this thing lost its star power, but regardless of what happened, this thing did not hold the key support points. So you can sit around and say, yeah, maybe if they execute, right, it still may be perfectly good. But you got to you got to show that, hey, we can break this out. Break it out. Okay. Hey, Elrond. Okay. So you have a 13 bottom and a 9 bottom. Okay. You're taking out key point at 32.31. Okay. As long as Bitcoin is moving, there's no real reason to go, okay, I have to get out now. They're unwinding the entire Gensler move and there's resistance around 33.47. So while it's all green, it's all good, right? You want to evaluate all these altcoins to see if you're on a 7 and then you wind up, 8 hours later making a euphoric new high for this move. And then you want to see what happens on the next dip. Okay. Because remember, the institutional flows into Bitcoin will probably last maybe the rest of this week, or maybe it's going to go to 36. So when you get these big moves in these altcoins, okay, that's great. But what happens if they fail? So you can sit here. I mean, there's no reason to get out of this, right? Except for the fact that maybe it's a 5-wave up, okay, coming off the bottom. So yeah, there's resistance here. I don't know if you want to make a new long position, but I'm sure if there's a euphoric new high, there'll be sellers. And if there are no sellers there, then okay. Somebody's asking about the Litecoin halving. Okay. So let's look at Gala because we got a couple people interested in that. Okay. Gala has resistance at 0.0267. So that's the level that Gala's got to break. That's on a 4-hour chart. If you go to Litecoin, which is now in play with everything from privacy to ordinals, okay, you have a 13 top, very robust rush up higher here, right into resistance. You know what, folks? Again, I know it sounds like a bummer because, you know, I either missed it, my roadmap was wrong, or I was sick, whatever. But really what we've done here is just unwind Gensler, right? We've unwound Gensler, and now here we are figuring out back to what we were normally looking at, which is what's up with the dollar, what's up with interest rates, what's up with that. I don't know that buying Litecoin into resistance makes any sense, especially when you have 13 tops. Like, I know that you want to hear me go, oh my God, this is going up, which is exactly what I would have done if this was July 1st. But they decided to do it early. They decided to do it early. Okay, so they did it early. And the question is, do you want to buy Litecoin at resistance? I would say no. Now, if you're a trader or if you just can't stand it, this is another point about missing it. Sometimes having a really small position doesn't hurt you. Like, people think it's like all in with the rent or not at all. If you want to have a small position, if this turns out to be the dip in Litecoin, you know, I'm not discouraging anything. I just think Bitcoin has much more upside. Okay. Rich is holding his bag. Okay. He's making Michael Saylor, is making him look like a genius. Okay. You know, Big Rich is just reminding me of my own saying that if you can buy a dip like Gensler and make money, then it's a bull market. Not arguing with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I actually wish there was a way to have the regulars who are on the show actually come on the show and talk. You know, if I had the technical capabilities for that, we would think about it. The 100th market update, all right, since I've started doing this on my own, is 1 week from today. Okay, Carlos is just tuning in. He wanted the wisdom on the super pump. All right, so I will give you the wisdom on the super pump with the Bitcoin daily chart. It's very simple. Large institutions moved money from tech stocks to crypto. They moved it from NVIDIA to MicroStrategy. Okay. Bitcoin miners are a huge source of Bitcoin. All right. It is possible that the SEC attacked altcoins to allow BlackRock to hoover up all the Bitcoin in the world. So the demand for Bitcoin is epic, either because there's going to be a problem with the legacy financial system. It doesn't matter. You know the deal. People want Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was going down when equities were making a blow off top. It's quarter end. So if you have a fund that holds 60% of its money in equities and 40% of its money in bonds, and if the equity portfolio has gone up to where they're now at 65% equities or the certain tech stocks, they'll take profits in the stuff that was great and buy the stuff that was no good or that had a bad quarter or a bad month. Equities up, sell. Maybe they buy bonds. Maybe they buy Bitcoin. Q-Boyd wishing me a happy 100th live stream next week in advance. I appreciate that. Okay. Jeff Planer says it kind of feels like we're back at zero. And in many ways, like if you go to Bitcoin on a weekly chart, that's exactly what is happening, man. Right? Like, where's Bitcoin? Really? Like, where's Bitcoin? Okay. Bitcoin was here in December of 2020. It was here of June of 2021. It was here in May of 2016, May of 2022. It was here in April. Like, what's happened with Bitcoin? Nothing. But Bitcoin did hit a nice weekly support point. And, you know, you cannot look at this and say, oh yeah, this is not going up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that you want to FOMO in, and I'm not making that call on my first day from being out. Okay. Because I have a feeling that if you FOMO in and the Fed loses its mind, it reminds everybody that they're going to hike rates, that you're not going to get a much bigger dip, right? The only thing I don't like about what's going on in Bitcoin, I mean, obviously, dude, I wanted to buy this in July. I wanted to buy everything. I would have buy it if it sat still. Okay. But now if they elevate this and the Fed comes out and scares everybody, okay, that creates a dip in a much more interesting situation. But again, that's why you have analysts and that's why you do your own chart work. Okay. Dead Fred giving me some love for 100th live stream. I appreciate that. Okay. Somebody's asking me if that's a giant cup and handle. Could be. You know, handles can be really ugly, right? And there's, of course, nothing uglier than Gensler. So, I mean, if this thing takes off, again, nothing's going to stop Bitcoin once it gets going. Bitcoin dominance is going massively higher. And right now, it doesn't look like anything's going to stop Bitcoin from going to 30, 35K, except for maybe the DeMark 13 top, right? Like, this is emotional. Retail is piling in as institutions are, people may be misreading what they're seeing. That's all, right? Institutions want it at the end of the quarter, right? You know, it's for real if they want it on July 1st, but you know, not going to get in the way. I'm just going to say paying 32 for Bitcoin may not work. But again, you start drawing stuff like this. I mean, you know, you realize, I mean, it's like, let's take the other side of it. Like, let's not fight it, right? This is like, you know, off to the races, unstoppable. You know, you're looking at 46K. If it's a teacup and handle. I mean, this is what I was looking for in July. They just may be doing it now, right? So you either got to buy small dips and be willing to take heat if it goes back to 28, okay? Or you can do the hard thing and let them finish whatever they're going to do at quarter end. Even if they take it up to 35, the actual metric as to what people think about crypto and risk assets will not appear until after quarter end, right? And guessing about quarter end is really difficult because, you know, there were huge seismic moves. Like, if you go over and you look at equities, right? You look at what was happening in stocks. I mean, oh my God, like QQQ, NASDAQ 100, right? You know, on a daily chart, like, this thing was straight up the whole quarter, made a 13 top, right? Had a blow off top, and now it just kind of came off. So I don't think this is going to crash, but money is going to come out of equities and into Bitcoin miners, MicroStrategy, and Bitcoin. Okay. Jeff wants to be there for the 200th anniversary live stream. He's going to have a whole lot more money. I appreciate that. Okay. Big Rich says it's Moonboy time. Okay. And Crypto Clan says happy summer solstice. Very interesting that you did have a Bitcoin takeoff. You frequently can have major trend changes at things like, you know, winter, spring, summer solstices, particularly if you were going down into the summer solstice. Okay, so let's sum this up. Crypto was going up in July. It decided to do it early. Pension funds are piling it, not pension funds, mutual funds and hedge funds are piling into Bitcoin massively, probably orchestrated by Gensler himself. They want everybody in Bitcoin and they want everybody out of everything else. So is Bitcoin going to go to 35K? Maybe. And maybe it just goes there on a rope. Is it going to pay to FOMO in at 32 and 35? I don't know that. I don't know that. And frankly, I don't think so, because the Fed may not be done. And even if Bitcoin is going to 46K, it's a smarter buy after they've gotten done with the quarter end gymnastics, right? Because if this is money going from tech stocks into crypto, that ends July 1. So I don't want you to get left holding a bag. Now, altcoins, okay? Every altcoin's not going to make it. Gensler has told you that. He's told you that. So be smart if there's a big parabolic run up in alts, because you had a big move in Bitcoin, and altcoins may have 1 or 2 really big days. Those are the days you want to take a look and ask yourself, do I need to do any selling? Okay. Azim is here. Welcome, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you on Friday.